Hey there, everybody. Welcome. Our review for the Blacklist Season 8, Episode 13 is here. This is Anne. We all need to hug our nearest animal after this because this episode it hit me with all of the feels. Like, I absolutely loved it. You guys know at this point that if we're kind of sour on a Blacklist episode, we'll come on here and rail on it.
Yeah, we'll tell you right away if we're not into an episode, but I loved it. I loved everything about it. It was so good.
It's almost like, and I know this didn't happen because I know they write these a long time in advance, but it's like they listen to everything we have been saying on here about don't make Anne a traitor to Reddington. Don't make her some sort of Liz plant. Don't kill her at the end of the episode, though granted, she's not in great shape either.
She's not in great shape, and she technically could still be a plant. But right now, this whole episode gave me everything that I was looking for from Anne, from Reddington.
Yeah.
It was really, really good.
I'm gonna live in my land of make-believe for the next however long this video goes, and if you guys, by you guys I mean Blacklist writers, screw me over and kill off Anne or make her like a secret Liz, I will be so mad. You will not be able to, you guys will get no cake from me like everything that all those fancy goodies Reddington had.
With all the frosting.
All the frost. Oh man, I want cake so much right now. Okay, well if you guys do love this video, be sure to subscribe to the channel because, as you know, we discuss Blacklist, theories, all sorts of good stuff. We're going to have a lot to say about what's coming up next in another video soon. Rest assured of that.
Absolutely. We will have a preview coming up. And be sure to follow us over on Instagram at Matt and Jess TV. Okay, I just got to say, after 8 seasons, they have finally given Reddington a real, true, on-screen love interest. And when I first heard about Blacklist all these seasons ago, I was so excited because I grew up in the 80s and James Spader is such a heartthrob, and he was then and he is now. And everything I've ever seen him in, every movie, everything, he is like the guy, you know, he is always hooking up with people or having a romance or something. He just like oozes appeal and charisma. This is not just Reddington, it is James. Even when he was on The Office playing Robert California, it was the same thing. He was such a weird, creepy, charismatic, appealing character.
Yeah.
So when I heard that he was going to be on Blacklist as a fugitive and, you know, sort of the baddest of the bad guys, I was like, oh, here we go with this. But he really hasn't had a lot of, or really any love adventures or romantic escapades that we have actually seen. It's sort of just all storytelling. So to actually have James Spader back on my screen, steaming up the joint, it was so good. And the chemistry between them is 10 out of 10.
Yeah, she is so good.
Oh.
I mean, they got a Tony winner to play this part. She's great in these like interpersonal scenes, and like the chemistry that they've built up is so phenomenal. And like, I have wondered for a long time because James had this, you know, heartthrob status, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like maybe when he went into Blacklist, what probably appealed to him was that he wasn't sort of that character having all these hookups right away, but it's sort of like, because they have made us wait, it is the anticipation that sort of makes this story all the more exciting. And I like that they had like real, legitimate romantic moments.
Oh, the dancing together. I mean, yeah, just the sort of more normal banter back and forth.
Yeah.
Clearly it was something that he was looking for, and clearly there's been some stuff that we've all been missing, because when he was talking to Debby and he was just like, yeah, this is like the 5th time I've gone to see her. I'm like, okay, well, we missed all those other times, dude. It would have been nice to have seen that. But it was interesting how quickly that relationship built between them in just 5 sort of dates or times that they've been together, that she was already introducing him him to her friends and having these overnights, and like it was very intimate. Giving him a key.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Gave him a key.
Did she buy him a
love
toothbrush?
it. Oh, I'm sure she
The toothbrush test, very, very important. Okay, yeah, all of this was wonderful. And I will say that when we first got that moment where Dimbe, in between all the discussions about Bitcoin, which was totally random, but like in between all of that, when we learned that this was like his 5th visit, there was a part of me that was like, okay, Reddington knows better than this to go and see somebody for 5 times. He knows somebody's going to follow him, but there's a couple of reasons why I think it ends up being believable. And number one, Red's kind of lost a step here or there this season. I don't know if it's because of his sickness, but also he's in love. And when you're in love, sometimes you don't think like you normally do. And I think we are seeing that here.
Yeah, he didn't say, I'm in love. But when he was driving away to Angel of the Morning and thinking about all these moments and turning back around again, the man is in love.
Yes.
And if he's not in love, he is like this close. He is like falling right down the hole. So it's so good. This episode is one of my favorite episodes. No task force in this whole episode either. I really like these episodes, and they don't give us that many of them, but where it kind of just focuses in on like 1 or 2 characters, and that's it.
Yeah, and Cape May is my favorite episode of the show, and I've said that many times. And this had a lot of a Cape May feeling to it. Different setting, a lot of different characters you sort of saw throughout, and I think Cape May was sort of about Reddington understanding a side of himself, and I think this was too, because I think this is Reddington acknowledging, at this point in my life, this is actually legitimately what I want. And I loved this line, and I'm sure it's a line that all the theorists out there are going to break down again and again, when he said to Anne that he isn't Raymond Reddington with Anne. Does that mean that he's not the real Raymond Reddington?
It could, but I mean, I think what he's trying to say is he is not the fugitive and the criminal. He's just Ray, and that they're just together, and that's what it is. And it was nice to see him really sort of stripped back, where he was, okay, my Raymond Reddington, criminal mastermind of the world, that's not here with me right now. So I can be sort of this more raw, stripped back version of myself, where all the other things about him get to be at the forefront, because in his world, he doesn't get to really care about people really deeply or make these deep connections. And he does with some people, but they know what he does. He doesn't just get to be regular guy Ray, where he gets to, make sandwiches, go on picnics, play bridge, eat cake, be intimate, and sort of have these things where the other person doesn't know that there's this whole mess that comes with him.
I think the part of this episode where we all really knew that this was Ray, as you said, as opposed to Reddington, is when he had a euphemism for the hanky-panky. Like, the moment he busted, I don't even remember what it is now, unfortunately, but the moment he talked about his repairs, it was like, okay, all right.
The soldering iron repairs,
Yeah, like, we all sort of knew what was going down there. But, we were about 10 to 15 minutes into this, so let's live in a world here for a second where we did not see any promos. We were just watching this episode blind. At what moment during this did you think in your head, oh no, this is going horribly bad?
Well, I mean, when he first spotted that truck, he knew. He's been at this a long time. So when he spotted it the second time near Anne's house, we all knew that this was coming.
And I will say, from here, we got a really intense, 20 or 30 minutes, and I think they played it off in an interesting way. Usually on these criminal shows, you always run from the police. This was a really big pilot throwback. Reddington goes right into the police.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. It was kind of like, oh, here we are again. Here he is, surrendering himself for a different reason than just, hey, I'm guilty, take me in sort of thing.
They even had, this was a nice little Easter egg, that that little wanted picture of like Spader with like the weird crazy hair.
Yes.
I hadn't seen that picture on this show in like 7 years or something, and now they're suddenly bringing back the Robert California look for him all over again.
No, and I mean, it was really exciting. It was fun. There was like, of course, the big shootout, everything with Neville. And the only thing that I kind of wish is when they got to that back door and they were like looking at each other through the window,
yeah.
I kind of wish that conversation was a little bit sort of deeper or more intense. There was just something more to that than what was there. It was good,
yeah.
But I feel like it could have gotten to a 10.
I feel like we needed like another 3 or 4 minutes in this episode, so we could have had that conversation. We could have like extended it, because I think I would have loved to hear Reddington tell Anne a little bit more about certain parts of his life and help that she understands more. That way, when she does make that move to save him later, it pays off even more. But
I think that was also what was so cool about Anne actually deciding to save his life, that even though now she knows everything is out on the table, that her love for Ray, because that's the person she knows, she doesn't know this other side of him, her love for who he is, stripped away from all the criminal stuff, that man, just him, she still loves him and is still willing to help him.
And I think that's why it is so smart that they had that sort of line, and Anne said it more than once in this episode of, I know you, as long as you don't have a wife or husband out there, everything else is all right.
Yep.
Can we talk about how much the police chief sucks? Because this guy, okay.
Listen, I get where he was coming from. You've got Raymond Reddington coming in and then kind of being like, hey, I can help you. Uncuff me. Hand me guns. I can do this. Let me tell you this. Of course he's going to say no.
Okay, the thing with this guy, I agree with you. Of course,
what's he going to do?
No.
All right, Raymond, here you go. Let's uncuff you. You take over. You're the one. Like, it's not going to happen.
The part that shakes my basket is when he's talking to Townsend, and he's like, you have 60 seconds. He's just like, whoa, wait a gosh darn minute here. It's like, I understand that apparently Cottonwood Falls, which is, by the way, a real place. I looked this up on Google Maps, but you know what?
You love your geography.
I love geography. This town's got like 900 people in it, so I understand that this is probably the craziest thing of this man's life. But if it is the craziest thing of this man's life, how about you treat it like that, police chief, rather than just being like, oh, hold on here a second.
I believed it. I think that it's sort of a situation where when nothing like this ever happens to you, when it's all sort of crashing down on you, you don't really know what to do, and you only have 60 seconds to figure it out. And, he really had less than that, because Neville was just done with him.
Yeah. Neville is Two-Face. When Two-Face and Batman has the coin that has the same thing on both sides, or he just flips it until he gets his end result. That's the Chief. You never had a chance, but...
No.
Okay, I don't know. The moment that I probably shouldn't have laughed at in this episode, but I kind of did, was the guy being like, I'm going to go out there. We don't need this. I'm going to stop. Like, how did you think this was going to end, dude?
No, that one I really didn't understand. And he felt a lot like he was just like, hey, I'm unarmed. I just want to go home. I was just kind of like, what is going on here? Why would you think that this is going to work?
Don't be the hero. Reddington told you guys what to do. I understand not wanting to listen to him, but you know what? It kind of would have worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything that we sort of had leading up to this big moment of, and I like how they did it. They did this commercial break where it actually seemed like Anne's friend Lois was going to like either arrest Red or then shoot him.
Yep.
And then he's like away, and we have that second where we're like, what happened here? Why is Reddington not here? Did I miss something? Did they come back on commercials while I was away?
And that was why when they explained it and they saw, like, Anne actually just get up and stand in front of him, and you could see the look on his face that he was just, there was love all over him while she was doing that and just being like, no.
I love that she put him in, that he was locked away in the trunk. Like, that is like a total mob boss move right there from Anne. Like, I had thought maybe he had hitched a ride somewhere else, or he was lying in the back seat. I don't know why I did not expect him to come climbing out of the trunk.
I'm really glad that he turned around. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously now everything is there with Liz, and she obviously must have suspected that he was going to come back as well. Because if not, then what would have happened? Just Liz sitting in a house with Anne forever? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
What was plan B, Liz? Were you just going to, like, call him up and be like, hey, I'm at the cabin with your lady?
I guess that must be it, or she wouldn't call at all and wait for him to someday show up or whatever, but it's not like, maybe she thought Anne would know where Reddington's gonna go next, but I don't know why Liz would think that, because she knows Reddington.
My bigger thing is if Liz knew that he was kind of there this whole time, which I'm assuming she did, because if Neville knows, Liz knows. That's sort of how it's been working. If the purpose is to get to Reddington, I mean, she could have really gotten to Reddington anytime she wanted. She knows where he is. She knows where he works. She could have gone down to see him anytime at the restaurant. Like, what is the actual purpose? And that is where I'm getting worried about Anne. And that if Anne is really sort of not a plant, and that she's just been watching this love grow, that she is just going to straight up kill Anne, and that the purpose of this is to hurt Reddington more than anything else.
I think, and this is yet another big leap by Liz, and we already know she took one with that freaking plane earlier this season.
Yeah,
but
she did.
Maybe she's thinking for sure Reddington is going to come back, and then she wants to tell Reddington, I am going to kill this person you love in front of you, just like you killed Katarina in front of me.
That's where I think it's going.
I think it is that sort of ultimate revenge, and I don't want that, because, like, in my head already, this is how far down the Anne rabbit hole I am, guys, and I apologize in advance for what I'm about to do. I picture, like, series finale, she's, like, off in a cabin somewhere, he's, like, walking up to her and being like, I'm home. And then she, like, greets him. It's all wonderful and happy, and, like, everyone, and then, like, Aram is there, and he's, like, making them dinner, and then Cooper, the task force is all, they're all having a party.
No,
okay, no, I'm
listen,
joking.
okay, the task force can be somewhere else doing whatever they were doing in this episode. I agree. I am down the Anne rabbit hole that if it ends with sort of that idea with Raymond getting a chance to live out the last years of his life, not doing this anymore, that he has fulfilled his project, his 30-year project.
Yeah.
Now it is time for him to retire, and that he can actually retire, because I don't think anybody wants to see him dead. I don't think anybody wants to see him actually paying for his crimes or anything like that. We all want to see him have some sort of a happy ending. And this is clearly a very happy beginning for him. So can we have some happiness? Because this show is very dark, and I am concerned that there will not be a happy ending for this show.
I am very concerned as well. I mean, they haven't mentioned that Reddington is sick for, like, weeks now, but it's still somewhere in the back of my head.
But he is.
Yeah. Okay. This is the last big question I kind of have on my mind with this episode in particular. Do you think they should have shown Liz's face?
Yes! Listen, okay, we all know that she's coming up on the next episode. We've seen the synopsis.
Yeah.
It's all about Liz and what she's been sort of doing. We've seen the pictures that NBC has put out. She is in this episode. So why not have that big, like, jaw dropper at the end? And, like, we saw the gun. I was just like, oh, they're going to show her it's happening. And no, still no.
Yeah, like, I don't get it. I don't know if it's like, oh, you show, like, 2 seconds of Megan, then you have to pay, like, another person for a full episode. I don't know if it's a budget thing. I don't know.
Pay her,
yeah,
then.
Just
like,
give us the moment.
It would have been such an impactful moment.
Yeah.
So impactful. We haven't seen her in weeks.
Yeah.
This was such an impactful episode. All of it was so good. That would have just nailed this home as, like, one of the best episodes of all time.
Yeah, it was tiny missed the mark there on the end of what, I feel like a lot of us, maybe not all of us, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I think this was a really good episode. I think we've been on a very good run these past few. I think we've, ever since we got past, like, that kind of, like, midway point of this arc where we had some weird blacklisters I barely even remember anymore.
Yeah.
Like, we're in good graces right now, unless you guys kill Anne, and then this is just going to be fire and rage moving forward.
Yeah, it won't be great. It'll be a very different kind of video.
Okay, well, let's all just surround ourselves in warm fuzzies and music and Italian cinema for a moment here, because what did you guys think about Anne, the episode, and the character? Are you guys shipping Red and Anne? I don't know if I can call them Red Watcher anymore as a ship name. I'm pretty sure there's been like 10 that the internet has come up with beyond that.
I think I saw Ran.
Yeah, are you? Well, no.
I like Red Watcher.
Red Watcher can be the ship name in our hearts.
That's right. Here at the channel, it's Red Watcher.
Alright, well, if you guys enjoyed this video, subscribe for more, give us a like, and support us further. Check those links we have our store, our Patreon. Thank you guys for watching. We love talking the Blacklist with you. We will see you here next time.